Today on Gibbles and Bits, we're making something. This Gibbles and Bits is a special one. Because I didn't really know what I wanted to make, I'm turning it into a This is the Process episode. We are going to take just some ingredients that I tend to usually have in my refrigerator and turn it into a meal. We're starting with the flightless noble bird known as the chicken. After you have your protein, you need to look at what other ingredients you got that you can put together to make a meal. Don't be afraid to do something that you've never done before. Food can be pretty forgiving as long as you're willing to not burn it. So looking around with what I got, I have some half and half, some broccoli, red potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, a white onion, some freshly grown peppers, some bacon, some deliciously nuclear Velveeta cheese, and some butter. As I look at all these ingredients, the first thing that pops into my mind is we're going to make some corn chowder. Now, corn chowder, you ask. How in the world did I come to corn chowder? Shit. Did I say corn chowder? Because I definitely meant chicken chowder. How did I come to corn chowder, you ask? Well, son of a biscuit. It's real whiskey, folks. How did I come to chicken chowder, you ask? Well, because I thought it would taste good. So, that's what I'm going with. Here's the great thing. Okay, now I have all these things up in my head that kind of allows me just to roll with it. But the internet, in all its greatness, allows you can literally go onto Google, type in what ingredients you have in your house, and there are websites that will give you recipes to cook with. So here's where I challenge you though. Don't just stick to those recipes. Use that as an idea and skyrocket to the moon with it and make it your own. What we're making today is apparently corn chicken chowder, minus the corn. Sharp knife's a happy knife. Take care of your knife, it'll take care of you. Words of wisdom. That's it. For this meal, I'm going to cut my bacon into bits. So you don't want to put food into a cold pan. There are exceptions, but for the purposes of a general rule, you don't want to put food into a cold pan. Get your pan heating up on medium heat. Throw your bacon in. If you don't hear that wonderful sizzle, you're putting it in too early. One way to test it is just put one little piece in. No sizzle, no good. It's probably good. Sizzle's good. As far as our bacon cooks down, we can prepare our veggies. So after you get your fat in there, now you want to cook by what takes the longest to cook. Okay? Carrot take long. Onion not as much. Broccoli, very quick. Yes, this is the same board that I cut that raw bacon on. But guess what? Because I'm cooking everything, and none of it's going to be raw, the risk of cross-contamination is low. With that being said, to be absolutely certain that you're not getting any cross-contamination, you're going to want to separate out your boards, one for raw meat and the rest for veggies. Oh, well, while you were gone, I went ahead and cut up all the vegetables for you. We got the rest of our vegetables cut, so now it's time to put them in the right order. So remember how I said you go by what takes the longest and then what to the shortest? So that's what we're going to do. Potatoes and carrots, they're going to take the longest, so they go in first. One thing you got to remember is you got to season as you go. So there is sodium in bacon, so keep that in mind, but a little bit of salt helps bring out the natural flavors. When you cook, you actually really shouldn't be able to taste the salt, because what salt does is it binds to other food molecules that allows our tongue receptors to taste other foods that it normally couldn't taste. For example, have you ever seen salt on chocolate? You notice that it's amazing. So what that does is the salt actually binds with the sweet receptor and allows sweet receptors to go through our salty taste buds. Don't overdo it, because you can always add more, but you can never take it back. Just like in dating. All right, we're giving our potatoes and carrots a little bit of time to get that sweet veggie love going on in the pot. Next up is our onions. So these onions are bringing tears of joy this time. Straight to Flavor Town. Copyright. You know I like it spicy. This is an optional ingredient though. We got some fresh jalapenos and Anaheim peppers that are from the garden, and we need to put them in something, so we're about to bring up the spice a little bit on this guy. And you can add those in about a minute after you add the onion. As for our broccoli, we're actually not going to add that until we add our liquid. The reason being, broccoli cooks super quick. So if you overcook broccoli, it's mushy, it's gross, it makes orphans cry. It's just not for anybody. So, as I stir our arranged veggie marriage over here, I get to thinking, what if that was me in this pot? What is this pot really? This pot, my friends, this pot is America. We all come together, one sizzling pile of fat and veggies, and we work as a team to become delicious. Now what is delicious? Well, it's a word. 6 letters. 7 letters. 8 letters. But what is it besides a word? It's an idea. And what is an idea? An idea is powerful. And what is America? America is powerful. It all comes around. So just think about that. Okay, our veggies have all had... Hi, baby. If you don't get a little bit of cooking on that chicken before you add the water, you're actually going to boil it and it'll become chewy. So you want to make sure that you cook your chicken before you add your liquid. Oh, I know I said before with the bacon, try not to use the same board. With chicken, I highly recommend not using the same board, because chicken is way prone to bacterial growth. The reason being is it actually has a very low acid level as opposed to beef, bacon, things like that. So because there's not a lot of acid on chicken, you can grow a lot of bacteria. So I would recommend either cut your chicken first and then clear your board and clean it, or cut your chicken very last, because then you're not going to get chicken on a bunch of different stuff. So in the pot it goes. So what we're using for our thickener today is flour, because it's what we have, because it's a good ingredient to always have on hand. We want to add our flour before our liquid and let it cook for at least a minute. We want to cook a little bit of that floury taste out of the flour. So just add, you know, enough. For how thick I want it, I'm doing about 3 spoons. Let that cook for a few minutes and then add your liquids. So I tend to do about a 2-to-1 ratio. 1 stock, double that amount in water. What you do is totally up to you. That's just what I like. We got our liquids in there. So what we're going to do is let this come up to a simmer. Simmer. Remember who you are, simmer. So we're going to bring it to a simmer, and then more things are going to happen. All right, we have reached a simmer. Time to throw in our broccoli. When we add our half and half, a good way to make sure that it doesn't curdle is to temper it. So the way to temper it is you get your bowl, and you add a little bit of the liquid to the bowl. So by mixing these two together first, you're going to make sure that it's nice, silky smooth when you add it to the big pot. Now that you got your half and half tempered, go ahead and add it to the pot. And you want to make sure you're stirring while you're adding your milk. And we're off to the simmer races again. We've reached simmer round 2. Now the final touch is we're going to add some cheese to it. Now the thing with the cheese is as you add it, make sure you're stirring constantly, because if not, all that's going to happen is that cheese is going to sink to the bottom. It's going to melt and burn to the bottom of the pan. So as you're adding your cheese, just make sure you're stirring consistently. Well, my whiskey's gone and my bowl is full. That was another Gibbles and Bits. I'm Gibbles. These are my bits. I'll see you next time.